Member board reports and comments. I'll start with Councilor McClure.
I think I'm going to speak a little bit about that I was pretty conflicted about the ordinance that we approved, in that I think the clarity to people was a little hard for them to understand. But I think Councilor and Mayor Pro Tem Bencomo's explanation is partially how I feel as well. And I also think that the ask is going to be, especially once we realize being innovative with our developments and rethinking how we actually build and be good neighbors is going to be crucial. For example, if we don't want to have a community built that has any parking at all and it becomes a cycling only, and they know that when they move in, those are novel ideas that are working in other areas, especially if we consider infill in some of, at least in District 1 specifically. So I was conflicted, and I wish we would have talked a little bit more about how to allay some of their concerns in terms of traffic, because I think what the crux is people worry about traffic, not necessarily about people. Even though sometimes I get conflicted when I hear, oh, the apartment dwellers. I was an apartment dweller for 10 years. And I was also very interested in my city. So I wonder about that, and I think it's a strange narrative to have, because not everybody wants to live in a single family home, or can, frankly. So that's all I'd like to say about that. Thank you.
Nothing. Councilor Graham.
Thanks, Mayor. Just wanted to give a quick thanks to Justin Garcia with the Las Cruces Bulletin. A story that he worked on recently, posted a couple of hours ago, entitled "Public Officials Grapple with Threats, Raising Questions About Local Democracy," and covering some disturbing but definitely needing to be covered issues about these kind of threats. Justin he brought in some of the national statistics, but also looked at the state and local level. And I was pleased to participate in the story. So shout outs as always for local journalism, and give it a look. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Also say, as we continue this conversation with Realize, there is a lot of fear-mongering happening about what your neighborhoods are going to look like. And I just really want to say, first of all, when you come to us shouting about folks who live in apartments, or folks who, like me, live in a townhouse down the street from an apartment in a vibrant, beautiful neighborhood that I wouldn't give up for anything and truly love, realize that the folks you're talking to might actually live in the types of space that we're talking about, increased density, and I will encourage anyone who's sort of thinking critically about Realize to consider both the housing situation that we exist in and the environmental situation that we live in, and understanding that denser housing is always better for the environment, and know that we're also working on the traffic calming discussions very seriously, I think, and we've been having those discussions. I have a list of the streets in my district where folks are crying out for traffic calming. So we can do all of those things at the same time: address sustainability, address the housing crisis, address safety in our neighborhoods meaningfully, and also, just as a note, don't let internet fear-mongering and misinformation really inform what you perceive of things like reforms of zoning that really give homeowners a lot more power to build granny flats and other things, among a myriad of other things that are part of that. But please know when you're yelling about duplexes that you're talking to someone who lives in one. So what you say subsequently might be viewed with some skepticism from my part, although I can understand why you might not want me in your neighborhood. I do want to give a couple shout outs.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Councilor Graham, thank you for the shout out to the Bulletin article by Justin Garcia. I also participated in that article, and I guess I just really want to, I made a public comment about it on my social media, but I wanted to hear from the dais, just publicly thank Ikani, Chief Story, and Detective Wilbur for the way that they handled my situation, and for taking it so seriously, and for just especially Detective Wilbur for being such an advocate for when I didn't know what to do. And so I just really wanted to thank you all very much for holding space for my fear and my anxious rants at times, because it's a very hard situation. So thank you very much. I also want to thank Community of Hope, Nicole Martinez and her staff for hosting a meeting last week with some of the neighboring small businesses of Community of Hope and soon to be Amador Crossings housing project. And Natalie was there as well. And I just wanted to thank everyone who came for engaging in that meaningful conversation. And for continuing to engage in that conversation. And then additional shout out to Dr. Schumacher, who has experienced a significant amount of grief in her location, and it doesn't go unnoticed and very much seen. But additionally, she hosted a free vet clinic there at Community of Hope, where people came in and brought their pets, and she took care of them, and it was really beautiful. And I think it's such an important bridge building houses, and I can't thank Katrina and Grace enough for all of the work that they did to put them together for the downtown, and sometimes even for our partners like a Community of Hope, or at least hope to provide that service for them in the near future. But I'm hoping that in that contract we can request additional training for those security guards who are in fact very much at the forefront of navigating with folks who may have mental illness, folks who may have substance use issues, and may not have the training to sort of deal and have those appropriate conversations with folks. You know, my stepdaughter was walking a dog. She was dog sitting, and she was walking the dog on the downtown plaza, and one of the security guards barked at her. And so I just want us, that if we're contracting with these folks, that they're providing important and good customer service. And I'm hoping that we can talk about how we can build into that contract like mental health first aid training or things like that I think are an important piece of customer service, like Chief Story has talked about with PD.
Thank you. Just wanted to note for the record a couple of the public comments. The evaluator that we're going to use to evaluate our city council meetings is not a cost to the city. It is something that is provided from the municipal league, and that's why I want to take advantage of that. And then also with that, there are a lot of things that the city is working on. We have a couple of work sessions that are coming up with the budget, and then with also some ordinance to come. So we are looking at public safety. We are looking at social well-being. We are looking at the homelessness situation, and we are looking at petty crime. So those are the things that we are working on, and we are going to move forward. I just wanted to mention the evaluator is no cost. That is something that is provided.